Now at 5, a helicopter goes down near the Oregon coast, and the pilot manages to survive the crash.
Plus, another sports betting scandal, this time hitting college basketball. The former Oregon Duck allegedly involved, and later.
I want this job to be incredibly boring. I want this job to be non-political and not confrontational.
The reluctant new president of Portland's city council lays out his vision for the job.
But first to our top story, and that chopper crash in Lincoln County this morning, about 6 miles from Siletz. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. The good news tonight is that we understand the sole person on board, the pilot, is okay. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office confirmed the helicopter crashed earlier this morning. Crews have been on scene since about 2:15 p.m. The helicopter is registered to Weyerhaeuser.
The company has now released a statement saying the pilot is safe and somehow sustained only minor injuries, and that it's working with officials to figure out what led up to the crash. Again, the pilot's doing okay. We're expecting the sheriff's office there to release more information at some point, and of course, we'll keep you updated. Developing this evening, President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act and bring the military into Minneapolis. That's as tensions increase after a federal agent shot and injured a man last night after Homeland Security says they tried to arrest a Venezuelan migrant. Authorities say the agent was attacked by multiple people and with a shovel and broom handle. And eventually the agent fired a shot, hitting that man in the leg. The shooting comes 1 week after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good, which DHS says was in self-defense.
Back in Portland, the woman shot by a Border Patrol agent last week is now at an ICE detention facility in Tacoma. Sharon Yu in Seattle was the first reporter to meet with her.
I'm here at the Northwest ICE Processing Center in Tacoma, where the woman is being held after she was shot by Border Patrol officers in Portland last week. I wanted to visit her to make sure she's recovering okay from that shooting. So during visitation hours, I came here, I walked in through those doors over there, registered myself, walked through a metal detector to make sure that it didn't have anything on me. And when I got inside the visitation booth, it was like a prison-style visitation booth. So that meant it was 2 telephones facing a wall, and there was a plexiglass in between us, but I could see her, and she told me that she was doing okay. She showed me her gunshot wounds. There was 1 wound to her left chest and 3 under her right chest, and there was a little bit of a language barrier, but I think she was telling me that 2 of the wounds that she had on her right side were from shrapnel, but I could see that she was healing okay, and again, she told me she was also feeling all right.
Zambrano Contreras is not facing any criminal charges stemming from the incident. The shootings ignited more protests throughout Portland and also in the Seattle area.
Zambrano Contreras is being held here in Tacoma because this is the largest ICE facility in the Pacific Northwest, and it is pretty routine for folks who were detained in the Oregon area to be brought up here to fight their immigration case. In Tacoma, Sharon Yu, King 5 News.
A 12-year-old boy and a 15-year-old appeared in court in Clark County for the first time today after they were arrested for the murder of this man, a Southeast Portland convenience store worker. This is video from the scene in the Hazelwood neighborhood in December. Celine Stevens is live in Vancouver with the details. Celine?
David, that 12 and 15-year-old were arrested on Wednesday by Portland police as well as Vancouver police and the Clark County SWAT team before they were brought here to the Juvenile Justice Center in Vancouver. Now, the two are both being held without bail on multiple charges, including first-degree murder for the 12-year-old and second-degree murder for the 15-year-old. Investigators say they shot and killed Santi Rai, a father who was working at 3D's Market in Southeast Portland back on December 9th. The two boys are also facing numerous other charges related to crimes in the Vancouver area. According to court documents, one of those crimes is a shooting in Vancouver that took place a few days after Rai was killed. Documents say the 15-year-old suffered a gunshot wound to the back of his head, and the 12-year-old was also injured. They were found near a stolen car that the 15-year-old indicated he was driving with firearms inside. A close family friend spoke with KGW shortly after Rai's death.
He was out there in the community, always helping. Can't wrap our heads around what's going on here.
So according to the Multnomah County DA's office, the boys will first go through the process in the Washington court system, and once that's done, they will then be extradited to Oregon to begin the process there, which could take months. Back to you.
Celine Stevens in Vancouver. Thanks, Celine.
Developing tonight, federal prosecutors have indicted 20 people, including 15 former college basketball players, in connection with a basketball game fixing scandal. This includes a former Oregon Duck. It's the latest gambling scandal in high-level sports. According to the indictments, the people involved rigged college games in the United States and professional basketball games in China starting in 2022. The charges include bribery in sports, wire fraud, as well as aiding and abetting.
When criminals pollute the purity of sports by manipulating competition, it doesn't just imperil the integrity of sports betting markets, it imperils the integrity of sport itself and everything that sports represent to us, hard work, determination, and fairness. And when that happens, the Department of Justice will step in to protect what is a sacred institution of American life. And that's what we're doing here today.
One of the people indicted is Jalen Terry, who played one season of college basketball as a guard for the Oregon Ducks in 2021, which was not when he was allegedly involved in the scheme. Prosecutors say it all started in 2023.
Tonight, we are hearing more from Portland's new city council president, Jamie Dunphy, who won the top spot after it took over a dozen rounds of voting to break the deadlock. Blair Bess is in the newsroom. And Blair, he didn't even want the job.
David, Dunphy was a last-minute nomination, breaking the council's week-long stalemate on who should be elected president. Today, one day after he was elected, Dunphy doubled down on his message that council president was never his goal. It's the first time, though, that someone representing East Portland takes on this role. Over the last year, Dunphy was part of the progressive caucus called Peacock. He says he will remove himself from that group to serve all Portlanders. Among his top priorities, the city's permitting process and crumbling city roads, unspent housing money, and creating unity on council.
Candidly, there was a lot of ugliness that happened in the last couple of days. We need to find a path forward. We need to demonstrate that this is a body of serious lawmakers who are serious about the future of the city.
Coming up at 6:30, more on Dunphy's plans, and tomorrow night he joins me in studio for his first live interview as council president. Christine.
Looking forward to that. See you then. Thank you, Blair. A bill being debated in Olympia would set new minimum requirements for anyone running for sheriff. Today, sheriffs from across Washington pushed back, saying the proposal takes power away from local voters and could even allow the state to remove an elected sheriff from office. Let's bring in our Devin Haskins now. Devin, break this all down for us. What's in the bill and why are the sheriffs pushing back?
Yeah, Christine, it's a bill that has had several sheriffs voice strong opposition all across the state, with some calling it government overreach. But the senator sponsoring it says it's all about accountability.
Senate Bill 5974.
At a hearing in Olympia on Thursday, several sheriffs from across the state opposing Senate Bill 5974.
We should be turning to voters more often. We should be allowing voters to have more control over their elected officials. And I don't like the sentiment that this bill allows the state to intervene in that process.
The bill would set new requirements for those running for sheriff. A candidate would have to be at least 25 years old, undergo a mandatory background check, become certified by the state's Criminal Justice Training Commission, and have at least 5 years of prior law enforcement experience. In 2022, Pacific County voters elected Sheriff Daniel Garcia through a write-in vote. He didn't have any law enforcement experience before taking office.
The people chose to take a gamble on me, and it has served our county very well. We've built a super awesome team. And in the future going forward, this would prevent anything like that from occurring.
He opposes it.
What it's really doing is stripping the voice of local voters.
As does Skamania County's Sheriff Summer Shire.
There has been so much state overreach, in particular into law enforcement. This is just another extreme measure by the state to have control.
A big point of contention for the sheriffs is the state's ability to declare the office vacant if a sheriff becomes decertified. They argue that that decision to remove a sheriff should belong to the people that elected them.
If somebody runs against me, for example, if I'm not doing a proper job for my county, I can be ousted out of my office by someone that the constituents believe is more qualified or will do a better job. There is a process here that already exists.
It's hard for me to understand that they would be opposed.
But Senator John Lovick, the chief sponsor and a former county sheriff and state trooper himself, says that's not the case.
you're only decertified if you commit a serious crime or if you commit a serious violation.
He says this is about accountability and building community relations.
When the sheriffs really think about it, and they needed to speak today, but I think they're going to look at this and say, isn't this what we are about? Aren't we about accountability?
A similar bill was introduced last year in the House, but never made it out of committee. It failed. Another hearing for the Senate bill is set for next week. Jason.
Yeah, definitely have to see how far it'll make it this time. Appreciate your reporting, Devin.
Straight ahead on KGW News at 5, the warning from ODOT after the governor asked lawmakers to repeal last year's transportation bill.
Plus, what brought the Blue Angels to Portland on a Thursday in winter? Matt?
And I will show you what brought the blue sky back to Portland, too. But right now, it's a golden sky. Just fantastic. From our sky cam up at Timberline Lights, there's Mount Jefferson for you. Three Sisters as well. 46 degrees there. Boy, what a warm up today. Those strong east winds will continue. Fog in the South Valley and maybe some rain and snow, maybe next week.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back. Oregon lawmakers return to Salem for the short session next month, and it sounds like they're going to have their hands full.
Yeah, especially when it comes to figuring out funding for ODOT, meaning keeping our highways repaired and roads clear of snow. Our Tim Gordon is here now with those details. Tim.
Yeah, you know, it's a familiar message. ODOT says that without more support, service and staffing cuts are coming. The Department of Transportation says it has a funding gap of $242 million for the 2025-27 budget cycle. It's less than a previous estimate of a $350 million shortfall. But the end result is still bleak, according to the agency, with a reduction of more than 1,000 positions. That means reduced services from road maintenance to DMV services. Some legislators suggested ODOT needs more flexibility, as the agency is currently mandated to keep costs for operations and maintenance to 6% of its budget, with the vast majority of the spending earmarked for new construction projects where costs have skyrocketed.
It is the legislature that directed ODOT to spend all this money on capital projects that has now sucked up all the money and pulled it away from operations and maintenance.
So I think that that's something that we should continue to look at as you're explaining all of these cost increases and why it's so expensive. Perhaps not all of them are absolutely necessary, and we don't need them to be that expensive.
Now remember, Democrats passed a funding package for transportation last session, but Republicans got signatures to put the issue to voters in November. Then Governor Kotek called for the bill to be repealed so lawmakers could start over on ODOT funding with this upcoming short session. This is really an issue that's divided Democrats and Republicans. We'll see if they can come together with some sort of compromise when the session starts February 4th. Christine?
We'll keep a watch on what happens. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, check this out. The Blue Angels are on the ground in the Rose City, in the air, I suppose, as well. 2 officers from the Devo team are at the Portland Air National Guard base preparing for this year's Oregon International Air Show.
It's got a fantastic lineup from what I've seen so far. McMinnville is always a fantastic show. We haven't been here since 2023, and the entire team is eager to come back.
It's incredible. I mean, we're all here for this, as part of the Blue Angels mission, and we are entrusted to wear these crests and represent the United States Navy and Marine Corps day in and day out, no matter how far away from any military base we may be. So it's a huge honor, and every time we get into this jet, we feel that sense of motivation.
Well, welcome back. Love watching these men and women in the sky. The Blue Angels will show up in the skies over McMinnville in mid-August.
You know, I have never seen them fly. That's going to be on my bucket list. Got to do. And speaking of the Blue Angels, some really beautiful blue skies.
Yeah, that's a very impressive what they do. It's really cool to see. And hopefully we'll have a day just like today in August when they come back, because it is amazing. We're hanging on to this shot. That's live for you from one of our sky cams up at Timberline Lodge in the beautiful Mount Hood National Forest, looking south at Mount Jefferson, of course. A couple of scattered clouds. What caught my eye here, though, is what's happening down over the Three Sisters. They normally don't look that jaggedy. There's some clouds forming over the top of the mountains there. It's kind of fun to see a little cap cloud activity over the Three Sisters. The wind's perhaps a bit stronger there. It's 46 at Timberline, but remember yesterday it was 58. It's still super dry. The winds have backed off up on the mountain. They're becoming increasingly confined to the gorge itself. But look at the difference clearing out the fog made on our temperatures. We're running right now 17 degrees warmer in Salem and McMinnville, and last hour it was 21 degrees warmer here. So just an incredible difference again. All about the fog. You see where they have the fog, where the temperatures are cooler compared to yesterday, especially in Pendleton, Hood River, and in the Dalles. We were near 60 today in the metro area. 59 Hillsborough, 57 Portland, made the 70s this time. Instead of the Cascade foothills, it was the South Coast. 75 in Brookings, the hot spot in the state, and then 30s in the fog up in Pendleton. You can see the fog there. You can see the fog retreating and receding down to about Eugene and Roseburg, about the only areas west of the Cascades that really had to contend with it. And the overnight lows were above freezing, although you got close in Hillsborough, that 33, 36 in Corvallis, well below freezing east of the Cascades, 20s and teens with the clear sky, light winds, long nights of January, and also key, the super dry air. As long as you're not in the fog, the air is very, very dry. Now, the east winds, here's the pattern. Where there's color, there's wind. And you see how it increasingly becomes confined to the gorge and then spreading out in the Portland area as we go through the weekend. So we'll stay fog free right on through the weekend, but air stagnation will continue to be an issue in areas that do not experience the east winds, like much of Washington County, save for the Bull Mountain area, that's out of it. And then Multnomah County is out of it, and you get back into it once you get into the eastern gorge here, air stagnation there, and then in the southern counties, because there's just a big area of high pressure, and unless you're dealing with that east wind, there's no wind, and there's no really mixing of our air at all as we stay under the influence of this very stable weather pattern that's not bringing us any precipitation for the next basically almost week. And when it does, we'll see how strong it is. Doesn't look super impressive, but should be a breakdown of this as we get into next week. But we keep this right on through the holiday weekend. We're going to have sunshine, so it's really going to be delightful. Now notice this curious little feature here. Notice this little curl. That's an eddy in the fog. And see how it spreads north? We'll begin to cool things off over on the south coast as that happens. So when will this break down? Next week, it does. There's a weak system coming out of the north around Wednesday and Thursday that should bring us some precipitation, and then hopefully more as we go into the following weekend. But boy, we're getting close to the end of January. It doesn't look like anything significant coming our way. There's Mount Hood, Portland, 50 degrees still here at, what are we at, 515, 520 almost. Freezing level at 12,400 feet. On the coast tomorrow, it's going to be beautiful. Highs near 60, clear blue sky. In the valleys, also beautiful, except down around Eugene and Roseburg. There'll be fog there, but in the mid-50s everywhere else. Up in the Cascades, also sunny, a little bit breezy, and highs will be in the 40s. Those will be in the 30s. Central and eastern Oregon, basin and valley fog, but sunny above it. So 46 in LeGrand, out of the fog, 43 in Bend as temperatures continue to cool. In the gorge, sunny and very windy for the west side of the gorge, some gusts of 55. And in Portland, clear and windy and and 55 tomorrow. We stay in the 50s right on through the next 7 days. Stays clear through MLK Monday and Tuesday for that matter. And then finally some showers show up on Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
Look at that. What beautiful weather. One, we're almost to the weekend, and then it's going to be awesome.
Pretty wild.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
Hard to believe it's January. Well, straight ahead, the biggest dog show in the Northwest is back. Look at the events for every kind of dog lover at the Rose City Classic. That's next.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Welcome back. Now that we're past the holidays, it's that time of year again. Of course, we're talking about tax season.
Already?
I know,
Yeah.
already. And as people get ready to file this year, we want to give you a heads up on some major changes.
Corey Johnson takes a look at the impact on business owners.
Well, local tax prep professionals say there are 3 large changes that business owners need to be aware of. This as tax season gets underway on January 26th, so just over a week and a half away. Now, the first is called Section 179. That allows businesses to depreciate the full cost of certain equipment in the same year it's purchased. This year, the rules have been loosened, meaning owners buying things like machinery, tools, and technology could see a larger tax break up front. The second involves research and development or R&D rules expenses. Small businesses that do research were previously required to spread those deductions out over several years. Now they may be able to amend past returns and recover some of that money. And the third is a push to bring American manufacturing back to the U.S. Qualifying businesses may be able to use depreciation on certain buildings. Portland-based tax firm Foster & Associates tell me that while these breaks can be significant, they come with some big picture trade-offs.
When the IRS collects less tax money, there is more inflation. We have a fiat currency, and so that means that the majority of when the Treasury pays money out, inflation goes up, and when the Treasury takes money back in, inflation goes down. Then they're going to have to reimagine certain items for, say, government spending or the like to counteract the inflation because the Treasury is going to take less money out of circulation.
Now, with a lot of tax changes happening this year, local tax experts tell me consumers could see more random IRS audits and letters over the next year or two. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you've done anything wrong. They say the IRS just wants to check that filers are understanding the rules and following them correctly. Back to you.
Important to know this year. Okay, did you know that today marks the start of the largest dog show series in the Northwest?
I did not know, and now I do. We're talking about the Rose City Classic, and last year the best in show was an Afghan hound, though we should note the event has much more to offer than just the main competition.
We also have agility. We have scent work for the dogs that like to work with their noses.
We have obedience and rally. We have a ton of stuff for kids. We have Meet the Breeds. We have an art contest for K through 12. Some of their artwork is posted out there. So there's just something for everybody.
They're so cute. Oh my gosh.
You're into the cuteness and I'm into the obedience.
Oh.
I like the sound of that competition.
Yeah.
The show runs through Sunday at the Portland Expo Center. Details and tickets, look at that leap at rosecityclassic.org. We'll be right back.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Vidawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Vidawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your Evening News team. Tonight on KGW.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Coming up new on KGW News at 6, Habitat for Humanity's new campaign and local development dubbed Pope Leo Village.
It's all thanks to an anonymous donor inspired by the new Pope's message of service to others. We'll tell you all about the project in Southwest Portland, meant to be affordable for generations.
But first, right after the break, we'll take a close look at the results from a new survey of Portland area voters, what they say about whether they're better or worse off financially, and at least one bright spot. We're talking about a neighborhood that appears to be showing up in the data.
And for now, we'll leave you with this beautiful view from our Lincoln City Skycam on this Thursday. More news right after this.